my YouTubers! It's been a while since I've made a new video, and I am just coming off of being sick from COVID. It was awful. So now I'm 2 days free from COVID, and I'm gonna work with my girl here. She's due for some training. Come along with me. Before and after every training session, I like to flex my horse from side to side 10 times on each side and also 10 times on each off side. This ensures that she remembers that I do the pulling and she does the giving. It also helps me recognize any stiffness that she may have, so it'll help me to work on the stiffer side more than the good soft side. So yeah. Here I am demonstrating how soft and light she is to pressure. I only ask her with 2 fingers. So you always ask like they're perfect and be ready when they aren't. This next exercise that I am going to demonstrate for you guys is called Yielding the Hindquarters Stage 1. And you really want that inside hind foot to cross over the outside hind foot, and you want her to pivot on her inside front leg. And she moves her hindquarters around her forequarters, like so. And what you do on one side, you always do on the other side. It's almost like having 2 horses in one. So one side could be more soft and supple, and the other side could be stiffer. So you gotta work both sides evenly. And if there's a bad side, you work 2/3 on the bad side and 1/3 on the good side until you can get them pretty good and balanced. And this next exercise is similar to the first exercise, although it is yielding the hindquarters stage 2. It's where you give the horse a little bit more room. The goal is to get her to turn and face me and give me 2 eyes. This really comes in handy when you're trying to catch your horse out in the paddock. All I have to do to catch her is cluck at her and look at her hindquarters, and she turns and faces me, and usually she'll walk right up to me. Here, I couldn't help but laugh at her because, as you see, I didn't ask her to yield her hindquarters yet, and she anticipated the cue. So it just made me laugh that she was going to yield her hindquarters before I even asked her to. You don't really want your horse to anticipate their cues because then they'll start, doing stuff on their own, which is not what you want. You want your horse to wait for you. So I just rub her to a stop and we try again. This next exercise that we are going to demonstrate for you is backing method 1, and it's tap the air. So I tap the air in a 4 count, 1, 2, 3, 4. If she doesn't move, then I get a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger every 4 count. But she's done this quite a few times with me training her before I let her have 3 months off. So she's had about a week of training on each one of these exercises, and then I just gave her 3 months off because, she's only 3 years old and she deserves a break and deserves to, have a chance to be a horse and grow. had to get a bit firmer with her because her backup was lazy and she wasn't going in like a nice cadence pace. So what you do is you tap the air, and if that doesn't work, you tap the lead rope, and if that doesn't work, you tap the lead rope a bit harder, and then if that doesn't work, you whack the clip. But you never really whack the horse in this exercise, which is good. But I just needed to give her more of a reason to listen to my cue, and so I just whacked the lead rope a little bit. Clinton Anderson says that you have to go through some ugly stuff to get to the good stuff. This next exercise that we are demonstrating for you is backing method number 2, and it's called the wiggle, walk, wave, and whack. So you wiggle the lead rope, she starts backing, you walk in towards her, and you wave your stick back and forth, crossing your arms in front of yourself, and then it's her responsibility to stay out of your personal space in your hula hoop. So like it's a good exercise to be able to like pick up your personal space and move it with you. So if she gets whacked with this stick that's going back and forth, it's only because she didn't get out of my personal space fast enough. So yeah. See, right here is a perfect example. She wasn't backing out of my space fast enough, so the stick ends up whacking her. So I don't try to whack her. She just kind of runs into my stick as I'm moving it if she doesn't back up out of my space fast enough. This next exercise that we are demonstrating for you is backing method 3, and it's the marching method. So what I do is I stand up straight like a soldier, and I start marching my arms towards her, and then I start marching my legs towards her, and she just kind of marches backwards with me. So she's had about a week worth of training on this exercise alone. So I'm just kind of playing around with it and trying to refine it. So she's at the point where I can start to refine it. So I'd experiment with going a bit faster towards her and seeing if she speeds up. So a good horse should speed up if you speed up and slow down if you slow down. And she did great. So here she gets a little lost and starts going sideways. I just keep the pressure on until I get her to take one step back. And then I stop the pressure and give her a release. And we just try again. This next exercise that we are demonstrating for you is called yielding the forequarters. So she's supposed to cross her outside leg in front of her inside leg, front leg, pivot on her inside hind foot, and right there I back her up like a reprimand because she walked forward out of the spin. You want her to know that you want her to stand still and rotate, not walk forward. And it helps to change your body position as well. Like I got a little more in front of her drive line, more by her head, so she would be less inclined to walk forward. If you guys are wondering what all that banging is in the background, my camera and tripod are sitting right in front of my neighbor's horse, Amber. Her stall is right on the other side of the wall. And she's stomping flies, so the flies are really bad. This method of backing is backing method number 4, and it's using steady pressure. So it takes one finger to get her to back up like that, usually. I didn't film us practicing that backup method because we practice it all the time. Everywhere I lead her, I usually back her there, so I'm just have one finger on the lead rope pressing back towards her, and she just moves off of that pressure. This next exercise that I'm going to show you guys is called Lunging for Respect, Stage 1. I just send her out, and then when she's going real nice and doing what I ask and not pulling on the lead rope, I yield her hind end just by looking at it and let her come into me and take a little break, and then I let her go out again, and we just repeat it at all gates. Now, the reason that I did that is because at the trot, I kept asking her to keep trotting. Like, I kept having to point and cluck, and she just wasn't taking me seriously, as she's being pretty lazy about it. So the next step is point, cluck, and then spank. So the stick in the air like that was like a spank, and you'll see me correct her doing that. If she is lazy, I'll point, cluck, and then spank. And when I reinforce that cue with the spank, sometimes a little sass comes out. She gets a little sassy sometimes. But remember, you guys, she's only 3 years old. She'll be 4 October 2nd. She's doing wonderful for her age. I can't believe it. On this one, I didn't let her come in. I wanted to see if I could switch it up and just ask her to change directions without coming in first and see how she responds. And she just responded perfectly. Like, I sometimes want to test her, to see how she would respond to something that's unexpected. She's doing wonderful. So I speed her up there because she's pooping. And I want to show her, especially in reining someday. But I want to show her in walk, trot, and canter classes, horsemanship classes, stuff like that. So if she has to poop, she can't slow down or we'll have like points deducted, So every time she tries to poop when we're riding or doing groundwork, I tend to speed her up a little because she always slows way down or breaks gait when she's pooping. So yeah, I want to train her to be a show horse. You can see that when I ask her to canter, a little bit of sass comes out. She starts shaking her head and stuff at me. Clinton Anderson says that a horse will be responsible for itself enough to walk and trot, but if you ask them to canter, that's usually when the demon horse comes out. That's when the sass comes out. And how do you cure sassiness? Because you ask them to canter? You canter them. And you canter them. And you canter them until they're tired. And then you canter them a little bit further. You gotta put good steady miles under your horse's feet for your horse to be a good productive horse. Or as Clinton Anderson says, a good productive citizen. Ooh, that's some sassy girl. Yeah. So I'm asking her two things. When I'm asking her to leave me out back onto the circle, I expect her to do it with energy. So I'm working on that. And I'm working on her keeping gait when she's in canter. And she doesn't like that, so that's what's making her sassy. She wants to trot. So when she's cantering nice and loose lead and everything's good, then I let her come in. Oh, and you must remember too that she has had 3 months off before this day. I say she's doing pretty darn good for a 3-year-old. Look at her kicking up a fuss. She's so pretty. Right here, I point, cluck, and spank. And I pointed, and she didn't go. I cluck, and she didn't go. So I spank, and she goes. Right here, I speed her up because if you notice, she was cantering on the incorrect lead. And I don't want her to get used to doing that. So if you speed up their feet when they're in the wrong lead, they have a tendency of changing to the correct lead on their own, only because it's more comfortable for them to be in the correct lead when they're going around to the left. They want to be in the left lead front and back. When they're going around to the right, they want to be in the right lead front and back. And if they're not as graceful. They're not as comfortable. So this exercise that I'm showing you guys is called the slap and walk. You just walk around your horse, slapping the stick and string, makes a pretty loud whipping noise. He's such a good girl. I like to do desensitizing after a training session. It's just a good opportunity for her to be able to just stand in one place. I don't really ask much of her, but to stand still and fall asleep. Not to respond or react to anything that I'm doing. She's such a good girl. So yeah, she gets used to all kinds of different stimuli. She gets desensitized and she gets sensitized. So when you sensitize a horse, you're asking them to move. When you desensitize a horse, you're asking them to stand still and fall asleep. And this is just regular desensitizing is what I'm doing right now. It's usually the first desensitizing exercise you'll ever do with your horse is desensitize their back, and then desensitize their hindquarters, and then desensitize their head and neck, and then desensitize their back legs, and then their front legs. You do all of that and make sure they're really good and confident with that before you ever move on to the slap and walk or the helicopter or any of those other desensitizing exercises. I just mix them up because I've done so much with her that it doesn't need to be in order now. She pretty much can handle anything. I like to do things unexpectedly around her, so she just stays calm and stands there even when the unexpected happens. And this desensitizing exercise is called the helicopter. And it's whizzing around and buzzing around her head, and this helps her get used to things above her, and especially getting ready for a rider to be above her. That could be scary, so this helps just desensitize that area of her personal space. And yeah, I love to switch sides, doing either the helicopter or the slap and walk before I do like stage 1 desensitizing to the other side. The flies are really bad. I got fly boots on her, but as you can see, her tail's been going nonstop. When she stomps and stuff, it's just because of the flies. And then when I'm done desensitizing, the last thing that I do in a training session is flex her 10 times on each side and 10 times on each off side. It's just, again, helps her know that I do the pulling and she does the giving, and she also just gets to stand there and relax. You know, doesn't have to work or anything. She's given on her own pretty much. It takes like 2 fingers on the lead rope to get her to flex. She's really soft and supple. She's come a long way. When I first rode her at the seller's place, she tried to buck me off. Oh, she didn't buck me off though, but man, she has come a long way since then, and that was last fall. And I just started training her early summer, and now it's September. So, yep. And I only trained her on the fundamentals maybe 1 or 2 months, and then I gave her 3 months off, and now we're back at it. So yeah, it doesn't take much to get some horses really soft and supple and responsive and willing.
Well, that's it for today for training, you guys. Like I said, I've just been free from COVID for a couple of days. I still feel pretty ragged. I'm out of breath and sweaty and dizzy. But hey, if you guys like my outfit, get it from the one and only ranchdressin.com. Use code AS10 to get 10% off. Come here. Yep, that's all I have to say. Also, I'm sponsored by Smart Tack. So if you guys like Smart Tack, you can get it for 10% off with code Amanda. The flies are really bad, you guys. Bye.